Hello, and welcome to another episode of Jazzology presented by Savage Content. I'm your host, Willard Jenkins. We're here alternating Fridays, giving two jazz fans the opportunity to compete against each other for a chance to win $100. Each contestant will be asked a question worth 2 points. If they're unable to answer correctly, their opponent will have the chance to steal the question for 1 point. We will ask 10 questions, and at the end of the 10 questions, the person with the lowest score will get a bonus question for the opportunity to tie the score. If they're successful, the game will go to sudden death. Each contestant will take turns trying to answer the final multiple choice question until we have a winner. The person in the lead at the end of regulation will go first. The contestants will alternate chances to answer the question until one gets it correct. And let's meet this week's contestants. Our reigning champion is Brad Farberman, a guitarist and music journalist. Brad, what are you working on these days on your journalist side?
I just interviewed, it's not jazz exactly, but I just interviewed Morris Day from Morris Day and the Time.
From the Time, yes. Yeah. And I suppose you're also busy with some of those year-end lists, right?
I should be. I don't like those lists. Everyone's a winner, everyone. So
yeah. I get it. Our challenger is Mike West.
Hi, everyone.
AKA Michael J. West, a music journalist, another music journalist whose work appears in Jazz Times Magazine and the Washington Post, among his many affiliations. So, Mike, tell us what makes you a jazzologist.
Boy, between the many records, the many books, and the many interviews, sort of feel like I'd be in trouble if I wasn't a jazzologist at this point.
Okay. In other words, it comes with the territory.
Right, huh? Exactly.
Okay. All right, well, let's get to today's questions. And as our reigning champion, Brad Farberman goes first. Are you ready, Brad?
Yeah.
All right. Brad, the jazz club known as Jazz Alley is located in what city? Would that be A, San Diego, B, Minneapolis, C, Portland, D, Seattle, or E, St. Louis?
Okay, so I don't live in any of these cities, but I've heard of them. And let's see. I've seen good live music in Portland and Seattle. Let's see. But I believe that Jazz Alley is in St. Louis.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, that is incorrect. So the question goes to Mike West to steal 1 point.
Oh,
Mike, the jazz club known as Jazz Alley is located in what city? Would that be A, San Diego, B, Minneapolis, C, Portland, D, Seattle, and E, St. Louis has been eliminated?
Boy, St. Louis being eliminated, that's the one of these cities I haven't been to. So that was my wild card guess, and it doesn't help me that much to eliminate it. The thing, Well, as you know, we have Blues Alley here in Washington, D.C.
Yes, we do.
And I sort of think of Jazz Alley as being a cousin of that. and call it a lark, but I think just because that's the other Washington, I'm going to go with D, Seattle.
And that, Mike West, is correct. The jazz club known as Jazz Alley is located in Seattle, Washington. So, Mike, you're up next.
All right.
Mike, name the saxophonist, the tenor saxophonist, who is known as both the Little Giant and as the fastest tenor in the West. Would that be A, Johnny Griffin, B, Jimmy Heath, C, Coleman Hawkins, D, Sonny Rollins, or E, none of the above?
Oh, boy. You know, that's... The tough thing about that is that it sounds like the fastest tenor in the West makes it sound like this is somebody from the West Coast. But none of these choices are from the West Coast, except for, I guess, none of the above could be from the West Coast. But the Little Giant, that was the other one?
The Little Giant, and also as the fastest tenor in the West.
Huh. Well, I wonder if fastest tenor in the West could be the Midwest, in which case I know Johnny Griffin is from Chicago. So I'm gonna say A, Johnny Griffin.
That is correct.
Wow.
And that fastest tenor in the West aspect, that's a play on the old fastest gun in the West. You know, as in Johnny Griffin is from the Western Hemisphere. So that's what that's about. But yes, that was Johnny Griffin. You are correct. Brad, the book Jazz Masters in Transition, 1957 to 1959, was written by whom? It was written by which of the following authors? Would that have been A, Ira Gittler, B, Martin Williams, C, Dan Morgenstern, D, Leonard Feather, or E, Don Heckman?
Okay, well, I don't know, but let's see.
All right, now both you guys are writers now.
well, yeah, I'm a writer, but not a reader. You know? That's the problem. That's always been my problem.
I'm a writer who doesn't want to give a plug to anybody else.
Okay, so these are all famous jazz journalists. I have a book by Dan Morgenstern, but it's not this book. That doesn't mean he didn't write it.
Well, it doesn't.
I don't know. I'm going to guess Martin Williams.
Martin Williams? You are correct. It was indeed Martin Williams who wrote the book Jazz Masters in Transition, 1957 to 59. So you are correct, Brad. Mike.
Yes, sir.
We're in the book category once again.
Oh, dear.
The biography Ornette Coleman, A Harmonic Life, was written by which of the following authors? Was that A, Robin D.G. Kelly, B, Gene Santoro, C, Howard Mandel, D, Norman Weinstein, or E, John Litweiler?
Well, I can rule out A and B because they are famous for their biographies of Monk and Mingus, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
That
doesn't mean they didn't write a book about Mingus.
Well, no, that's true, but
I mean, you know,
I feel like I would have heard about it if they had.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that Howard hasn't written a biography per se, but I'll call and ask him as soon as we're done here.
He does have books.
That's true, he does. That leaves me with D and E. And now I'm scanning my shelf to see if I have it. And I don't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I'm going to go with E, John Litweiler.
That is indeed correct. Chicago's own John Litweiler did indeed write Ornette Coleman, A Harmonic Life, the biography of that great jazz master. So, Brad, you're up next.
Okay.
Branford Marsalis' 1994 recording project titled Buckshot LeFunk took its name from a pseudonym that was used by which of the following jazz greats for contractual reasons on a record date? Would that have been A, Jimmy Smith, B, Donald Byrd, C, Lou Donaldson, D, Cannonball Adderley, or E, Art Blakey?
Okay. I love all of these artists. I've spent time with all of their music.
And so is Mike West from the look on his face.
That's a clueless look on my face.
Let's see. We got two saxophone players, and so is Branford. Trumpet, Donald Byrd. Organ, Jimmy Smith. Drums, Art Blakey.
I'm trying to. We're going about the process of elimination, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about who would have who Branford would have a connection to. Mm-hmm. But of course, you don't have to only feel connected to people who play the same instrument. I'm trying to think if he worked with anyone in this group. Not positive. I'm going to guess Art Blakey.
Art Blakey?
That's my guess.
No, that is incorrect. And Branford did work with Art Blakey.
That was what I was thinking.
So Mike, with a chance to steal the question and to steal the point. Branford Marsalis' 1994 recording project titled Buckshot LeFunk took its name from a pseudonym that was used by which of the following jazz greats for contractual reasons on a record date? Would that have been A, Jimmy Smith, B, Donald Byrd, C, Lou Donaldson, D, Cannonball Adderley?
Boy, the thing is, any of those people could have used that name and it would not have been far removed from the kind of music they played. Contractual, though. You know, what I'm thinking is, of the people that remain on this list, Jimmy Smith, Donald Byrd, and Lou Donaldson were all Blue Note artists.
That's true.
I think that Blue Note was fairly relaxed when it came to that kind of name exclusivity.
Well, that's an interesting breakdown.
But Cannonball was on Capitol for much of his career. That was a major label that would have had much more restriction. I'm just spitballing here, but I think that I'm going to guess D, Cannonball Adderley.
And that is correct.
Wow.
Cannonball Adderley, and it was, interestingly enough, on a recording that was made for Blue Note called Here Comes Louis Smith. Or the late trumpeter Louis Smith, who spent many years as the director of jazz education at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So you are correct. Jazzology is brought to you by Savage Content, an exciting new purveyor of quality music programming. From podcasts to live performances and interviews, Savage Content offers an eclectic mix of curated entertainment programming for all music lovers. Be sure to follow Savage Content on social media to hear about our latest releases. And check out the store on SavageContent.com, and particularly this time of year for those Christmas gifts. Check out the store on SavageContent.com to get your official Jazzology merchandise. And now it's time to ask our contestants how they fell in love with jazz. Savage Content has produced 2 video essay contests asking contestants how they fell in love with jazz. So for each episode of Jazzology, we like to pose that question to our contestants. Although we'll do it a different twist with Brad because he's been here before. But Mike, how did you fall in love with jazz?
I can actually give you a name to go with that. The name is Jim Steele.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim was the jazz person at the public radio station where I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And on Friday nights, he took over the station and would do 3 or 4 hours of just whatever jazz he liked, old, new. And so that's how I really learned and really how I fell in love with the music.
So you had a good guide.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Brad, we'll put a different twist on the question since you've answered that before. But Brad, what would you say is the jazz album of the year 2022?
Oh, no.
I know you say you don't like those polls.
That's a good question. I don't know what the album of the year is, but I can tell you that
maybe we say, what is your favorite of the year? Maybe that's because ultimately that's what those polls break down to, is our own favorites.
Right. What have I been listening to? I'm drawing a blank. But let's see. I've definitely been enjoying the new album by Patricia Brennan, the vibraphonist.
Yes.
Really wonderful. And
she plays on someone else's album that I was just listening to when I was doing my polls for the year, and I can't recall which one, but yeah, she's a fine player.
Was it Mary Halverson's album?
Yes, it's Mary Halverson's album that she's on, yes.
Yeah, so I'll throw out her name.
All right.
Her new album is really great.
Patricia Brennan.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
We'll be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
All right, and now, considering the time of year, we have our Sounds of the Season segment of the show. And we'll start with Mike. Mike, the whimsical song titled Santa Baby has been sung by many singers. Who was the vocalist who popularized that song? Was it A, Dinah Washington, B, Peggy Lee, C, Eartha Kitt, D, Lena Horne, or E, Carmen McRae? Which of those singers popularized Santa Baby?
Well, I know which version I heard first, but that doesn't mean anything at all. I'm going to arbitrarily eliminate Lena Horne and Peggy Lee, simply because there's a kind of sultriness to the song that I can't quite imagine either of them pulling off.
Mm-hmm.
It's Carmen McRae, Dinah Washington, and Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was the first one I heard. I have no idea if Dinah or Carmen ever did the song at all, but I know Eartha did, so I'm just going to go with that. C.
You're going to go with C, Eartha Kitt.
Yes, sir.
And that is correct. The inimitable recorded version of Santa Baby was popularized by Eartha Kitt. But that doesn't mean that Lena Horne and Peggy Lee didn't have their own heavy degrees of sultriness now.
That is true. It was a specific kind of sultry.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We're getting nuanced here. Okay. All right. All right. Brad, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We're still in the songs of the season category. Brad, the song The Bebop Santa Claus was originally sung by which of the following? Was that A, Babs Gonzalez, B, Joe Carroll, C, Dizzy Gillespie, and yes, he did his share of singing, D, Eddie Jefferson, E, Chet Baker?
Wow, I'm really stumped, as I have been most of this episode. Bebop Santa Claus?
Yes.
Wow. Could it be Eddie Jefferson?
Eddie Jefferson? No, that is incorrect. Mike West. The song Bebop Santa Claus, which was actually more spoken than sung, was originally spoken and sung by which of the following? A, Babs Gonzalez, B, Joe Carroll, C, Dizzy Gillespie, Eddie Jefferson has been eliminated, or E, Chet Baker?
Well, Eddie Jefferson was my best guess, too. This one might not have been sultry enough for Chet Baker. You know what? The idea of a bebop Santa Claus is so much fun. I think I'm just going to go with Dizzy Gillespie just on the principle of it. So
you're going to go with Dizzy Gillespie? You're going to go with C, Dizzy Gillespie?
Yes.
That is incorrect. And so we had a shutout on that particular question. The correct answer is Babs Gonzalez. Look him up. He had several different permutations of the Bebop Santa Claus. All right. Well, Mike, you're up next. We're staying in the song category in our sounds of the season. The song Baby It's Cold Outside, a song which has kind of fallen out of favor in our Me Too reckoning, was sung or played by which of the following duos?
Oh.
Was it A, Louis Armstrong and Velma Middleton? B, Betty Carter and Ray Charles? C, Sammy Davis and Carmen McRae? D, Jimmy Smith and Wes Montgomery? Or E, all of the above?
Boy, all of those are good guesses, except perhaps D. Going over just the song in my head, which, believe me, nobody wants me to go over it out loud. Somehow, just because it fits Sammy Davis's range so well, that's my gut instinct, is to say C, Sammy Davis and Carmen McRae.
That is incorrect. Brad with an opportunity to steal the point and play a little catch up. The song Baby It's Cold Outside was sung or played by which of the following duos? A, Louis Armstrong and Velma Middleton. B, Betty Carter and Ray Charles. C, Sammy Davis and Carmen McRae has been eliminated. D, Jimmy Smith and Wes Montgomery. Or E, all of the above?
Okay, so like Mike, I'm not going to guess D. Not aware of either of them singing. Maybe they could sing. I wouldn't be surprised. Can't do C. I'm going to guess Betty Carter and Ray Charles.
Yes, Betty Carter and Ray Charles did indeed sing the most famous version of Baby It's Cold Outside. But the correct answer to that question is E, all of the above.
Really?
And remember, when I stated the question, I said it was sung or played.
Oh.
You missed that.
You're a clever man, Willard Jenkins.
Because, yes, Jimmy Smith and Wes Montgomery did indeed play Baby It's Cold Outside.
That makes sense. Okay.
All right, Brad, you're up next.
Okay.
The song Christmas Night in Harlem was recorded by which of the following? Was that A, Billie Holiday and Lester Young? B, Louis Armstrong and Benny Carter? C, Mel Torme and Woody Herman? D, Duke Ellington and Herb Jeffries? C, Peggy Lee and Benny Goodman?
See, this is my fault for never listening to Christmas music. I did it to myself. Oh my God, I have no idea. Tell me just the name of the song again.
Christmas Night in Harlem. It was recorded by which of those following duos?
And can I see the duos again? Yeah, okay.
Billie Holiday and Lester Young. B, Louis Armstrong and Benny Carter. C, Mel Torme and Woody Herman. D, Duke Ellington and Herb Jeffries. Or C, Peggy Lee and Benny Goodman?
Wow. I really don't know. I have to start listening to Christmas music. What if this happens again? What if someone asks me this question again? I'm going to guess Duke Ellington and Herb Jeffries.
Duke Ellington and Herb Jeffries? That is incorrect. The correct answer to that question, and let's see if Brad can get see if Mike can get the correct answer to that question to steal the point.
Oh.
You ready, Mike?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Well, the song Christmas Night in Harlem was recorded by which of the following? A. Billie Holiday and Lester Young. B. Louis Armstrong and Benny Carter. C. Mel Torme and Woody Herman. And D. Duke Ellington and Herb Jeffries has been eliminated. Or E. Peggy Lee and Benny Goodman.
Wow. This is really hard. And I listen to Christmas music, and it's really hard. What I'm thinking is I think that the of the choices left, the ones I most associate with Harlem or working in Harlem or living in Harlem are Billie Holiday and Lester Young. I don't know if that's right.
Is that your guess?
It's as good as any other. So yes, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
No, that song, Christmas Night in Harlem, was recorded by Louis Armstrong and Benny Carter. Mike.
Yes.
Which of the following jazz artists recorded the seasonal classic Greensleeves? Was that A. Johnny Hartman, B. John Coltrane, C. Gloria Lynn, D. Helen Merrill, or E. all of the above?
Well, that's a tough one. I know John Coltrane did. The question is whether the others did as well, which means it's either B or E. I thinking of Johnny Hartman and trying to imagine him singing in more or less Renaissance era English, or Helen Merrill for that matter. I think I'm going to have to go with B, John Coltrane.
That is incorrect. Brad, you have an opportunity to steal the question. Which of the following jazz artists recorded the seasonal classic Greensleeves? Was it A. Johnny Hartman, B. John Coltrane, C. Gloria Lynn, D. Helen Merrill, or E. all of the above?
Okay, well, it was definitely John Coltrane. We can all agree on that. So, which I feel like now I have to say E, all of the above. It's the only other choice.
Right, by simple process of elimination, because we know that John Coltrane recorded that.
You're welcome, Brad.
It's time for our bonus round, and Brad has the opportunity to make the leap and tie the score by answering our bonus question correctly. You ready, Brad?
No.
Well, ready or not, here we go.
Exactly.
In addition to the Duke Ellington, Billy Strayhorn interpretation of Tchaikovsky's seasonal classic, The Nutcracker Suite, in 2001, The Nutcracker Suite was interpreted by a group billed as the Classical Jazz Quartet. That band consisted of Ron Carter on bass, Louis Nash on drums, Kenny Barron on piano, and which of the following vibraphonists? Would that have been A, Joe Locke, B, Bobby Hutcherson, C, Stefan Harris, D, Gary Burton, or E, Terry Gibbs?
Okay, all wonderful vibraphonists. Trying to think of who has worked with Ron Carter.
Who hasn't worked with Ron Carter?
Well, yeah. I mean, it would be safe to say that probably all of these people have worked with him at some point, right?
That's right.
It would almost be crazy if these people had not worked with Ron Carter at some point. That would be weird. But who would have been in this band, the Classical Jazz Quartet? I love Bobby Hutcherson. I don't know if it's Bobby Hutcherson. I'm going to guess Stefan Harris.
Stefan Harris?
That's my guess.
Well, Brad, you have taken the leap and tied the score. We go to sudden death. And we start with Mike. Name the jazz man who was an actor in the film A Man Called Adam.
Oh.
Would that have been A, Duke Ellington, B, Chet Baker, C, Count Basie, D, Louis Armstrong, or E, Nat Adderley?
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, Louis Armstrong is in so many films. It seems like the obvious answer. Duke Ellington and Count Basie were both in a few. I don't know anything about whether Chet Baker or Nat Adderley ever were. Something in the back of my head is just telling me to go with A, Duke Ellington.
That's incorrect. Brad, name the jazz man who was an actor in the film A Man Called Adam. A, Duke Ellington has been eliminated. B, Chet Baker. C, Count Basie. D, Louis Armstrong. Or E, Nat Adderley?
Oh my God, I think I was going to say Ellington. I don't know why. not familiar with any acting roles by Nat Adderley, although he could have. Just don't know. I guess I'll guess Louis Armstrong.
And you are correct. And Brad Farberman remains our reigning champion. And you know, there's a little trick in that question. And that is the fact that Nat Adderley didn't act in that film. But it was Nat Adderley's trumpet that Sammy Davis Jr. was playing, it was Nat Adderley who did the trumpet work that Sammy Davis Jr. was playing on film as the lead actor in that film.
Wow.
So congratulations once again to Brad Farberman on your win.
Congratulations, Brad.
Thank you, Mike. I can't, I really, I was sure I was going to lose. Mike got so many more questions right. And I don't deserve it. So I'm just going to, should I give it to Mike?
We encourage each and every one of you to try your hand and play Jazzology. We're particularly encouraging more women to compete on Jazzology. And if anyone watching would like to become a contestant on Jazzology, click on this link below and simply fill out the form. You must be 18 years old or older, and be sure to follow us on social media at Savage Content to get all the latest news and updates. Thanks so much to our reigning champion Brad Farberman and our challenger Mike West, and to everyone who joined us for our 20th episode. Yes, this is a banner episode, our 20th episode of Jazzology today. Remember, you can check out Jazzology every other Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you missed the show live, you can find the archive on the Savage Content YouTube channel. Any final words, Brad?
This was a stressful one, and I don't deserve it. And Mike,
the rules of the game, Brad. The rules of the game. You played by the rules.
I didn't cheat, so that's true.
So, Mike, any final words from you? Because we're definitely going to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I thought about cheating. But it wouldn't be fair to Brad, who is a more than worthy opponent.
Well, thank both of you for participating, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Jazzology.